I wanted to open up with the ending of my favorite game of the whole entire series. As I'm slowly panning out here, feel free to see if you notice anything weird. If you need a little hint, take a look at my bench. My board ended up being basically just Zed and friends with a bunch of legendaries, which isn't that bad. Especially when you randomly get a 2-star Lee early on. Put a second RFC on him. Yikes. Have you solved my riddle yet? If you notice there was a 3-star Zed playing on the board, and both 2-star Kennen and Akali chilling on the bench, you are the winner. That's right, I won a game without ever finding a single Shen. I mean, I suppose 5 legendaries help, but come on. As you can see here, I basically just did a speed run all the way from unranked to master. Not a problem. I bet Usain Bolt would even be jealous. Wait, what's this guy doing here?
Hey, I told you I'd pay you $20 to not show up.
Alright. I figured out how to use Photoshop the other day, and I kinda changed it around. Here's what it really looks like. So as you can see, it took a little longer. Total of 58 games. Which still isn't that bad. The real problem was right here. Up until this point, the only 7th I had gotten was when I was showing on a video how bad an idea it was to lose hit points for a bow. And then in the middle of D2, I hit this bump in the road. And as you can see, I had 2 days where I couldn't even win a game. So even though I got to D4 in 27 games, I basically just wasted time for 18 games and missed the goal of getting Masters in 40. Oh well. Hey everybody, Usain Bolt's back. What's he pointing at? I can't tell. Do you guys see something over there? Oh, look at that. He wants you to like my video. What a nice guy. Wait, why is he pointing down now? I don't see anything down there. Oh, he's saying don't forget to subscribe. Well, thank you, Usain Bolt. And thanks to you guys for helping me out. Here's an overview of all my results. And as you can see, I had 6 5ths and 6 7ths. Obviously, you always want to get a top 4, but the most important aspect of climbing is to not get 7ths or 8ths. So all you have to do is just don't do that. Easy peasy. You can get 3rd place for 3 or 4 games in a row, and then get 1 7th and all your work has been undone. And if I recall correctly, I stopped playing after I got an 8th because I was just too tilted. This is the result of tilts from a friend of mine, and this is exactly what you want to avoid. If you're familiar with my other videos, the reason I'm going for bow so often is that I was actually one-tricking Zed on this account. So 55 out of the 58 games I played were of Zed. And one of the reasons I was able to get so many bows is due to the trick that I showed on one of my videos where you bind a key to your second movement button and spam right-click and that key at the same time. Of course, sometimes you get mort dogged and you get a defensive carousel, or in one case, a force of nature. One of the most common questions I've had is, sure, you play Zed late game, but how do you get there? What chosen do you play? Is there a secret one? So here you go. These are all the chosen I used. So first of all, just looking at it, I basically used every chosen at least once. I think I might have skipped Duelist, but my general rule was don't pick Assassin Diana, Divine Wukong, or Yasuo. Anything else was A-OK. Quick side note, I completely forgot the A-OK symbol was where the workaholics got their tight butthole symbol. Back to the show. So as you can see here, I had 2 assassins I opened with. I still remember one of the games was an Assassin Pike, a Diana, and a Kali. So 4 assassins on 2-2 is pretty cool. I really did like using Brawler, not only because it's a good frontline for sharpshooters, but also because you can level up on 1-4 and run 4 Brawlers on 2-1. They don't have a lot of damage, but they just don't die, so it still works. Kinda like Rasputin. That song is just so catchy. Cultist is generally pretty strong, but it did get nerfed, so it wasn't the best opening. But it did allow me to throw in some early Eves and Zeds and have Shade. Normally I would hold off on throwing in any Zeds until 4-1. Because I just want to play my strongest board so I don't lose any hit points. I still remember this game. I found a Divine Jax and I thought, okay, it's not a Wukong, it can work. And then I proceeded to just tank rounds over and over. It was horrible. 4 Divine early on for me didn't do jack squat. Rip Chris Farley. Elderwood was very similar to Brawler, where you get a lot of hit points, but this way you could also throw in a Lulu. That would give you some good support, or you could throw in a Hecarim and then throw in another Vanguard with it. But the best combo is obviously a Nunu, because that gives you the Elderwood and Brawler, because normally your Elderwood chosen would be a Maokai. Fortune was super risky to play with Zed, because you're purposely losing so you can get that huge payout, and in the back of your mind you're thinking, okay, but what if I don't get the payout? and then I can't find Shen, and then I'm screwed. I still remember the one Aphelios Hunter game I got. I actually was winning so much with it that I kept it until like mid-stage 5, also because I couldn't find a Shen. Go figure. I'll just scroll through the rest of these really quick because as much as I love going down memory lane, I think I've covered enough of them. I think you get the idea that you can play pretty much any chosen you get at first because you're still just going to get rid of it later. You just got to learn how to build around it. The other thing I get is people saying, hey, I can't find Shade Zed, so I can't play Zed. What the heck? And I just wanted to keep this super simple. As you can see, I only found Shade Zed 14 times out of 58. That's about 25%. I actually played Keeper Kennen even more than that, and I found Adept Shen a few times, and I also even threw an Adept Aurelia. But the big thing, as you can see, is 15 other times I played something else completely. This ranged from Vanguard Sejuani to Mystic Cassiopeia. I even threw in Dusk Lilia at level 9 once. So you can really shape your board based upon what other players have in their lobby if you can't find the default Shade, Keeper, or Adept. Throughout this whole journey, I actually recorded every round I got Shen. So at the end, we could finally see what round do you really expect Shen to be at. Now if you see on the very left, the number 2 at round 3-4, I actually picked it up off the carousel. So that doesn't really count as finding it in the shop, but in those games I already had an RFC, and I believe I had somewhat low hit points, so I didn't want a chance not finding a Shen. As expected, on round 4-1 when I roll all of my gold, that's where I found the Shen the most. However, that's only 25% of the time. So 3 out of 4 games, you're not actually finding Shen in your roll down, which means you're probably punching your screen, yelling at everyone in your Discord channel, and contemplating rage quitting. But if you can see and hold on for just 1 or 2 more rounds, you might still find him. As you notice, I had several games where I was going deep into stage 5 and still hadn't found Shen. And in one game, I finally found him on 6-1. And of course, my true treasures of never finding him at all, 4 times. These are the kind of games, however, that help you learn how to adapt to your circumstance and still not go 8th. I wanted to do this slide again because it shows that you still need RFC. I missed it in several games, as you can see, but I was still able to go top 4 a few of those times. I have a higher number in Hodge than I expected, but that's because I was slamming it early. It seemed like lots of people were taking bows, so that lowered my chances of getting a Hurricane or a Rage Blade. And I typically didn't use QSS because I was pretty confident in my placement, so unless I found 4 bows early, I basically had Hodge as my default 3rd item. If you look at the bottom, I had a total of 73 Zeeks, which obviously since I played 58 games means I had multiple Zeeks per game. Some games I had 0, some games I had 3. But since that's the second most important item in the whole composition behind RFC, it makes sense that I'd have a whole bunch of them. The last main thing I wanted to cover was the legendary units I was able to throw in with my 4 ninjas. As you can see, Azir and Zillion were the top 2 that I tried to get in, not only because they helped getting Keeper and Cultist, but the CC from Azir's ult helped save Zed more than a few times. The only problem with having Zillion and Azir on the same board is that Zillion will ult the soldier who's dying next to him instead of the 3-star Zed who's dying across the board. I tried experimenting putting the soldiers away from Zillion, but I didn't really have any final proof that really worked or not. Yone was a pretty close 3rd. I actually prefer Yone over Zillion, since Adept works every single round and sometimes Zillion won't even ult. And even if Yone is kind of a target, he basically buys more time for Zed to do his own damage. Kayn comes in at 4th with 18 plays. Wasn't really a priority. I would just throw him in over Eve at the late game. A lot of times I'd actually pick him up off the carousel, so I wasn't really focused on making sure I played him. If he had an item or 2, I'd throw him in. At the end there, obviously when I was level 9, I would find some Lilias and Ezreals I could throw in. That way I'd have a 4 ninja and then 5 legendary board, as well as having Dust Lilia and Dazzler Ezreal. I wanted to leave everybody with one of the more fun transitions I had. As you can see, it's 5-2, and I still can't find Shen, but I only have 23 hit points left. And at this point, I'm on a 4 losing streak. Even though I have all kinds of gold, I don't want to save it and die and have 100 gold on the board. As you can see, I rolled down a little bit and still can't find Shen. So here I find him on the carousel with an IE. Because, you know, that's what Shen does. Tons of damage. Thank you all for checking out my video. I believe this will be the last one for Zed on 4.0 because I've been playing PvE to figure out if he works there. And so far it seems like it could be a 50-50. So ta-ta for now.